What's up, it's the Raging Xcloud, and today I'm bringing you guys a post-commentary of my Week 4 battle against Andrew Snow. We're currently on the 6th week of the GBA Silph Co tournament, but I wanted to bring some post-commentary so you guys can see how my mindset is when I play and how I prepare for the weeks. So first of all, this week I brought Thunderous Choice Scarf so I could outspeed the likes of Mega Swampert in the rain and catch it off guard with a Grass Knot and Oko. Next up, I brought Infernape with a Life Orb that can deal a lot of damage to Doublade, Galvantula, Politoed with Grass Knot, and Hidden Power Ice for Garchomp, and it's a special variant. Next up, I brought Amoonguss physically defensive because that's really my only way of taking any hits from Mega Swampert. After that, I brought Mega Pinsir because it just deals a lot of damage to everything and it's really good late game. I brought Empoleon specially defensive so it could take the likes of Politoed and Florges and Excadrill just to deal massive hits. So we're going to get into the battle. First of all, here we see Andrew Snow, and he sends out Sharkeisha the Garchomp as I send in my Loxus and Thunderous. Now, I don't want to play any games, I go straight for the Hidden Power Ice. I wasn't scared of the Stone Edge, I thought he was going to go for the Stealth Rocks, and that's what he goes for. So now the Stealth Rocks are up on the field, and I think I had Rapid Spin on my Excadrill, but that's not a big deal. So I switch out into my Excadrill because I figured he would switch into his Florges, because that would be the thing to take the hit the most, or Politoed. So he does switch. That was a pretty risky switch in case he went for an Earthquake, but there's no way he went for an Earthquake on Thunderous. So next up, he goes into Florges but gets scared out from the Iron Head, and I think I predict and go for the EQ right here. Oh no, as I go for the Rapid Spin to get rid of the rocks. So his Garchomp is still there, he can still get rocks, but it'll be tough to get him in for free because he's so low from the HPA's damage. So I switch out into my Empoleon, Paku the Empoleon, so I can take any hit from this Politoed and really not just wall it, really. And I do have Toxic to neutralize it, which I am going to go for. He does get the Skull Burn, which is pretty annoying because I don't have reliable recovery on Empoleon, and he does have the Protect to stall this out, which is a bit weird because with Protect you're stalling out your rain turns for your Mega Swamperts, but I guess it worked out in this case. So he does stay in again, he goes for another Scald, it's not going to do much, like 10%, and then I go for my Stealth Rocks. So you see my Empoleon's getting whittled a lot by the burn, but I guess that's what happens when you go for Scald in the Rain. So I think he goes for a Protect right here. No, he does switch out, as I most likely go for Toxic onto the Florges, as I do. And I'm not sure why he went into Florges because Empoleon sort of walls it, but considering I'm at such low health, then he could probably take me on with a couple Moonblasts and some Wish Protecting. So I do get my leftovers, and it takes the Toxic, and I again get hurt by the burn. I pull a switch into my Excadrill, yes, to scare this thing out, and because I don't think Moonblast will do too much to my Excadrill, as he goes for a Wish. He takes another round of Toxic, and I'm expecting the switch into Garchomp right now, so I go for the EQ because I don't want to take the rough skin damage, as this is the biggest turn of the game, because I unfortunately get a big crit, which Oko's this Swampert, which could have been a big threat later on. Excuse the noise in the background. And Politoed comes back in. At this point, Andrew Snow is pretty pissed in the chat. But, yeah, I understand. That was a pretty big crit. So I switch into my Empoleon as he goes for the Scald. That's not going to do too much, obviously, but with the burn and with my small amount of recovery and leftovers, it's not going to be a winning battle for me. I'm going to be losing a lot of health. But the rain does go away, so his Scalds won't be doing as much. I do switch out into my Amoonguss because I was sort of playing for the differential right here. And I predict either a switch or, oh, never mind, I don't go for the Spore. I go for the Giga Drain onto the Double A. He goes for a Swords Dance, and I don't want to take any chances. I go for the Spore, so I can sort of neutralize this and switch into something that can kill it right away. So this next turn, I switch into my Infernape, which can take it out in one hit with a Flamethrower, if I do choose to go for it. Which, oh, he goes for the Shadow Sneak, and which I don't, because I go for the Grass Knot expecting the Politoed switch, but I didn't get this right, and he stays in with Doublade, and I get pretty lucky with sleep turns right here, as he stays asleep, and I can get the Flamethrower off and kill this Doublade. That's a crit, but it didn't matter. Next up, he switches in the Politoed, and I cannot kill this thing with a Grass Knot at the moment, so I think I pull a switch into my Amoonguss. Yes, Amoonguss comes in, and it's going to take the Scald pretty well. I get burned, but I think I can take it at this point. I have a pretty big lead in the game. So Politoed switches out into the Galvantula Spider Bread, and I just go for the Giga Drain to get off damage onto the Politoed, but he does switch, which actually does a pretty good amount of damage, like 20% to this Galvantula. I get hurt by the burn again. So these Scald burns are pretty annoying, but it wasn't too bad. So I go into my Excadrill because at this point I can take any hit, including a Bug Buzz and then an Energy Ball. If you went for an Energy Ball right here, then I couldn't have taken two, but that was... I just pulled the switch because I was kind of going for a differential right now. So he does go for the Energy Ball, I live it, and go for the EQ to kill this thing. And I do kill it. I'm left at 14 HP, which means I can take out one other mon depending on what he goes into, but he goes into Guard Chomp. So that thing can outspeed me if it runs enough speed, so I don't want to take the risk. I switch into Loxus, and I take a Dragon Claw. It was a pretty big hit, but at this point I'm doing enough damage. I mean I'm going for differential, so I don't mind taking all the damage. But I do go for the Grass Knots, and funnily enough, it counts as a contact move even though it's a special move. So I do take the Rocky Helmet and the Rough Skin, which is pretty weird. So right now Toes comes in, and I switch out into my Amoonguss because I can just finish this thing on. So he goes for another Scald, does pitiful damage. I get hurt by the burn, and a Nice Beam comes through, and it's not going to do immensely too much. I can just do a lot more damage with Giga Drain. As you can see, I'm kind of playing risky right here, like risking the crits or just risking my Pokemon. but it's really good to have a good differential in these kinds of leagues, because if there's a tie and you don't have a high enough differential, you have a chance to not make the playoffs, or like, yeah. So I predict the Ice Beam again, go into my Infernape. If you went for a Water move, that would have been pretty sad. But I go for the Flamethrower, which will obviously kill this Politoed at 5%. So it goes down, and I take another round of Life Orb. And finally, Florges comes in. It's the last Pokemon. And at this point, I just want to kill this thing, so I go into my Mega Pinsir, because I know it can take 2 Moonblasts or anything, and it can just kill it off with a return. So actually, it can't take 2 Moonblasts unless it gets special defense with the Mega Evolution. So the poison goes off, but even at 100%, I think it's a no-co from Mega Pinsir, so I am going to Mega Evolve. The Hellbug comes in, and with the return, it's going to be able to finish off this Florges. Down it goes. So we picked up the 6-0 win against Andrew Snow. Good game. I just played as safe as possible, and yeah. So I'll bring you guys 2 more post commentaries at least, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want. See ya. I forgot to add that if you want to find all of the details about the tournament, you can go check out the spreadsheet that will be linked in the description.